we're going to get into an effective analysis of an anecdote. And again, we must go back to the rhetorical situation in order to effectively analyze that use of anecdote. In order to do so, you should be thinking of this key question. How does the speaker use anecdote, and what is the effect of it? So to answer this, we must consider the subject, which is higher education. This is a speech in her campaign for pursuing higher education. She's speaking to high school sophomores to encourage them to seize opportunities to fulfill dreams. So again, going back to this idea of higher education, fulfilling those dreams. And she knows what she's talking about because she personally faced those obstacles before graduating college. So we should be thinking about all of these factors when moving forward when we write about anecdote. And if we were to specifically just analyze anecdote in a speech or a text, we should structure it in this way, thinking of this key question again. So the claim is that we should state the topic and the purpose of the anecdote on the speaker's intended audience. So again, you should be focusing on what the anecdote is about, what is the reason it was said, and most importantly, who is that audience? If you do all of these factors, you set the stage for a successful paragraph. In your evidence, you use a quote from the anecdote. So it could be a specific part of the anecdote, or you could paraphrase the whole anecdote or part of the anecdote as well. It all just depends on what the purpose is that you are analyzing and how that would relate. But the most important aspect would be the analysis. So this would come into your explanation and link. So this is where you explain what an anecdote suggests in the context of the text, where you make an inference about the aspect or a specific part of the story that the speaker is using. Following that, you should be explaining the effect on the intended audience. So this is extremely key. Who is that audience? And how does that anecdote affect them, or how does it impact them? So think about these guiding questions as you move forward. What does this part of the story do to the audience? How does the anecdote impact the audience? How does it illustrate the purpose stated in the claim? And with all of those, you would get a successful paragraph, just like in the one that we'll take a look at next. So this is a writing exemplar of a paragraph analyzing that Michelle Obama speech. So in the claim, it says, to establish a connection between her and low-income students at a Washington, D.C. high school, Michelle Obama uses personal anecdotes with overcoming barriers towards higher education in her speech. And she this paragraph right off the bat states the purpose, and that's something that you should be doing as well. After explaining the financial and social burdens she faced while growing up, Obama recalls, some of my teachers straight up told me that I was setting my sights on Princeton University too high. I still hear that doubt ringing in my head. And this evidence is a quote, a specific aspect of her personal story that we are going to be analyzing and just going really deep into. The explanation says, despite being successful and established, this event has left her with lingering uncertainty. Since a teacher, someone who is supposed to support student psychological well-being, became another obstacle for Obama to overcome. In effect, she was taught to doubt herself. And this, the blue part that's highlighted, goes back to what is the effect of that red part in the evidence. And again, most importantly, the analysis. Given that she is speaking to low-income students who have likely faced intangible barriers with the education system, Michelle Obama uses personal accounts with overcoming psychological barriers towards that higher education in order to appeal to current students' struggles. By identifying with Obama's previous efforts, students who are struggling with their own self-doubt are motivated to overcome the artificial obstacles before them. So the most important thing is that we, again, state that audience. And these low-income students who have likely faced intangible barriers will hear her story, and it appeals to current student struggles, those exact student struggles. And when they identify with Obama's previous efforts, they are more likely to relate to her and connect with